Do you want to make an underwater masterpiece? Let's make an easy aquascape together. Here's the basics you'll need to get started.
A tank, filter, lights, a heater if you're getting tropical fish, substrate, hardscape like rocks, driftwood and decorations, and also plants. Of course you will need everything for cycling the tank too.
Let's go into more detail about the shopping list, starting with the tank.
Choose the right size based on your space and the number of fish that you want.
A large tank is generally more stable and provides more room for creativity. Choose one that suits your needs and budget. Filter. A filter is key for keeping the water clean, removing waste, and keeping your fish and plants healthy. Light. Plants need lights to grow. Use full spectrum LED lights designed for planted tanks and set them on a timer for around 8 to 10 hours a day, depending on the types of plants that you choose. Before I start building the hardscape, I just like to add a background to the aquarium. A background like this really helps to make the final aquascape pop and helps to increase the depth in your layout. Substrate. The material covering the bottom of your tank is known as the substrate. Think of substrate as the foundation for your aquascape. Different plants have different needs. While some grow in substrate or pots, others like to grow attached to driftwood or rocks. Some thrive in nutrient-rich soils, while others prefer inert substrates. So it's important to do your research first and consider the needs of your plants. Beginners should start with inert substrates like gravel or sand, which are easy to manage. You can always use liquid fertilizers to give your plants the nutrients that they need. On the other hand, nutrient-rich options like enriched soils or aqua soils can be beneficial, but they might lead to algae issues if not managed properly. If you decide to go with aqua soil, you'll need to do daily water changes in the beginning, so to minimize those nutrients and the water quality. Alternatively, you can use root tabs for a happy median between the two previous options and just place these at the base of your root-feeding plants. Avoid extremes in size, like very fine sand or large stones. Fine sand can compact and make it tougher for the roots to grow, while large stones can create gaps that make it hard for the rooted plants to grab onto and get well established. Fertilizers. Fertilizers contain nutrients that aquatic plants need to thrive, and plants can absorb these nutrients through either their roots, their leaves, or both depending on the species. Now let's talk about plants, because there are so many different aquatic plants to choose from, in all different shapes and sizes. Some grow fast and some grow slow. If you're a newbie, start with beginner-friendly plants like Java fern, potted mouse ears, potted cardamine, or potted ambulia. They're hardy and forgiving for new aquascapers. It also pays to start with quite a few plants and a mixture of different plants, as this will help avoid algae taking advantage of the spare nutrients in the water while the plants are establishing themselves. To create an eye-catching aquascape, choose plants with different heights, leaf shapes, and textures. The more variety, the better the visual impact. Now that we've got everything, let's get into the step-by-step guide. Number 1, prepare the tank. Wash the tank, substrate, and hardscape with water, no soap. Install the filter, heater, and lights. Number 2, add the substrate. You'll need 2 to 3 inches of substrate, depending on your plants and the desired aesthetic. Some plants require a deeper substrate layer to establish strong root systems. You can also use a mix of substrates. If you do this, start by laying down a base layer of nutrient-rich substrate about 1 to 2 inches. You can cap this with an inert substrate like gravel or sand about 1 inch to keep the nutrient-rich layer from clouding up your water. Number 3, position hardscape elements. If you plan to incorporate rocks, driftwood, or other hardscape elements, then now is the time to position them in the tank. Experiment with different arrangements until you find one that suits your vision. Aquascaping is all about creating enchanting visuals by suggesting the eye where to look first and what to glide towards next. If there's one tip I can give you to spark your creativity, it would be first to choose the shape of your layout. There's several composition styles to choose from. The concave layout, higher on the sides and lower in the middle, giving sense of an open space. The convex shape layout, higher in the middle and lower on the sides for a mountain-like look. And the triangular setup, higher on one side and lower on the other for more balanced visuals. Once you have a clear direction on the shape, it will be much easier to decide on the hardscape materials and what type of plants you can use. After deciding on your layout, you'll want to secure the elements of the composition. Driftwood will often float up when you fill the aquarium with water, so you have to glue them to the stones. Use aquarium-friendly superglue for this, but not by itself. You need to use a small piece of paper towel where the stones and wood would meet, preferably from the back, where it won't be visible to the viewer. Drip superglue onto this until it's saturated. While the glue's still wet, sprinkle a bit of soil or sand onto it to cover the white paper. Alternatively, you can pre-soak your driftwood by weighing it down with a rock or two and placing it in a bucket outside for a week or so until it stays submerged by itself. Number 4, partially fill the tank. By adding approximately 15 centimeters of dechlorinated water, the lowered water level helps to support the plant leaves while you're planting them, so that they don't bend too much and break. When filling the aquarium, it's a good idea to pour the water onto a plastic bowl to avoid disturbing the aquascape design. Number 5, planting. The next exciting step is planting. Place taller plants in the back and shorter plants up the front. Consider your lighting. Put the low light plants in the shaded areas and the higher light ones near the light source. Another thing to note, the deeper the water, the less light that reaches the bottom. So if your plants need lots of light, then a shallower tank can help. You can use the 𝗊𝗃𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗃 glue to glue plants like 𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 established for at least 2 to 3 weeks before adding some fish. Number 6. Fill the rest of the tank. Carefully add the rest of the water and install the lid, light and filter, making sure that all your equipment is working properly. Number 7. Cycle the tank. Before adding any fish, make sure that your tank is fully cycled. This means setting up the nitrogen cycle, which can help turn harmful ammonia into safer compounds. This is super important for keeping your aquarium healthy. But don't worry, it's perfectly fine to add your plants before the tank is cycled. Plants actually help with the cycling process. Once the tank is cycled, your plants will begin to grow steadily. Keep an eye on their health and prune as needed. Number 8. The next step is to start with low amounts of lighting at first to avoid algae growth. In the beginning, the plants are still getting used to their new surroundings and they won't be growing as much. Therefore, set the timer for only 6 to 8 hours per day at first. Slowly increase the amount of lighting each week until you start to see plant growth. A timer is a good way to ensure that your lighting remains consistent in quantity, which will help to limit your algae growth. Number 9. Lastly, add fertilizer. Just like the plants in your garden, our aquatic plants need fertilizer to keep them healthy and to help them grow. We recommend using the 𝗘𝗃𝗲𝗃 Plant Fundamentals Pack, which gives you 𝘆𝗆𝑚𝑔𝑚, 𝘆𝗆𝑚𝑔𝑚, and 𝘆𝗆𝑚𝑔 Iron. Or these 𝗃𝗲𝗄𝗃 fertilizer balls, which are perfect for aquatic plants that absorb through the roots, like crypts for example. One other thing is CO2, which plants use as a food source to photosynthesize. 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃 is a great liquid CO2 supplement, which is best for smaller tanks. If you have a large tank, then a pressurized CO2 gas setup may be more economical and better suited for your tank. Fast-growing plants and stem plants like 𝗙𝗵𝗄𝗽 will need more CO2 than the slower-growing plants like crypts and Amazon swords. Well, I hope this helps. If you have any questions about starting your aquascaping journey, ask the team at your local Animate store.